Hello guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Raj Jaiswal. Today we are going to be discuss about the India's inflation. So everyone know about the inflation, it means mehangai. So right now, if you are noticed that same life, higher bills. So you are living same life where you are living same life now in 2026, and your bills of living that is going to be very expensive. So in this video we are going to be analyze and investigate of everyday cost of living shift of a middle class and real wages and comparative global policy responses. So it is the one of the case study video in which that we are going to be analyze the inflation, how it is going to be hamper the worlds, and what the future outcomes we can take from that. So it's the starting. So first of all, I want to build a context regarding the inflation. So in a inflation, there is a pretty much one of the concept that is know about the consumer price index. So CPI, the consumer price index present the percentage change in prices that consumer pay for good and services. So it's paid by the consumer. The CPI measures the average change in prices paid by consumer over a time, and it is a key measure of inflation. What is Consumer Price Index? The Consumer Price Index, calculated by the Bureau of Labor Statistics, measure the monthly changes in price of a representative basket of a good and services. These items can be changed over a time. So it's in this that have a kind of weightage items in that, when we are going to be analyze the type of CPIs. So there are different kind of CPIs, like a consumer price index, urban price consumer index, consumer price index, or curricular work wages under index. So there are different kind of CPIs. So there is a CPI-U formula. So the more common CPI-U calculation entails two primary formulas. The first is used to determine the current cost of the weightage. So this is the year-on-year formula. Annual CPI is equal to value of basket in a current year divided by value of a basket in a prior year into 100. So it's the overall the formula. And inflation rate, how we can calculate the inflation rate of the country. So we can take the new CPI minus prior CPI divided by prior CPI into 100. So we can analyze the things from that. And it is the eight major group for the consumer price index. So in which that there are the kind of things come like housing, apparel, transportation, education and communication, other services, recreation, medical care, food and beverages. So in that CPI categories by weightage, so how much the weightage things carry on. The food carry around 30.7%, energy is around 6.3, and all items less food and energy 29% using CPI. So where the CPI overall uses. So the Federal Reserve uses Fed CPI data determine economic policy, target inflation rate of 2%. So it's used in diversifying the rate. And COLAS, COLAS, the cost of living adjustment, it is also used in that. The CPI affect federal payment to the many millions of security benefit, income tax bracket, housing and mortgage. It's also come in debt. Financial market closely watch the CPI because inflation influence Federal Reserve policy. If CPI is rising too quickly, the Federal Reserve may raise interest rate. Labor, so it's also CPI on a kind of labor wages. It's on to vary on that. So it's the context we are going to be built. And this is the slides making by me. So the everyday breakdown of micro squeezes transforming daily household budget across urban and rural India. So the retail squeeze point two. The core vulnerability, food and non-alcoholic beverages represent a heavy 45% of India's CPI basket. Weather and climate spikes, recurrent heat wave and unprecedented monsoon generate direct agriculture supply shock inflation like staple food commodities dynamically compound living bills. Everyday groceries, household utilities, and essential transport reflect consistent marginal upticks that restrain common monthly wage structures. So there are kind of like core vulnerabilities like weather climate spikes and compounded living bills. The middle class income paradox. So here now, like a nominal earning is rising. India's overall growth story showcase robust job opportunities, rising software and industrial sector and enhanced in standard deduction levels under the standard tax structure, protecting individual with the incomes up to 12 lakhs annually. So income tax right now have a protecting income around 12 lakh. You if your income is around 12 lakhs, so you didn't have to pay a tax around it. Real purchasing erosions. Despite increased nominal wages, consistent core inflation on healthcare is around 3.6%, private education is around 3.4%. So it's growing on year. And persistent localized services charge systematically limits structural net servicing. Families are consuming identical basket but carrying deeper bills. The structural diet of inflation, 45% CPI food basket weightage, disproportionate strength. In mature Western economics, food items barely constitute around 10-50% of average household budget, reducing their direct inflation sensitive plate to wallet correlation. For Indians household, almost half of the monthly earning goes toward direct food consumption. Thus, staple spike directly erode discretionary spending margins. So in India, you know that there are like 50% of the earnings go into the monthly budget, what we are eating, what we are consuming in that kind of things. But when we are talking about the European like countries, so their budget is around 10 to 15% of their income goes in the monthly expenses. So that's why 40%, 45% of CPI in India carry on a food basket weightage. Part 2, the global macro grid, comparing India in inflation management and structural metrics against international standard economics. So global CPI comparison, like right now, Argentina around 120%, Turkey 45%, Brazil 5%, India 3.9%, and United States 2.8%. It is India's sharp deflation outperforming typically developing market average 4.2, the robust growth dynamic. So right now in India, pretty much low inflation, you can say, but prices are so high. And in Argentina, that's so worse. The human cost is the strain behind the Excel sheet. While macro indicators show robust industrial growth, the human cost is measured in family budget revision. To preserve essential schooling, diagnostic health checkup, and fixed saving target, family actively reduce high value recreation vehicle travel, and long-term asset down payments. Household category inflation, like food and CPI basket around 45%, and it's growing on a 4.78% year on year, and its impact on a budget is high, directly impact daily kitchens, essential nutritional choice. Private education is around 4.5%, and it's growing on a 3.14% year on year. Moderate imposes recurring increases in school tuition fees. Healthcare services 5.89%, it's growing 1.49, stabilizing, and travel and transport is around 8%, and it's growing year on year around 1.75%. So food is growing much faster, in terms of prices. The three macro forces, agrarian prices. So why this inflation is rising in nowadays? So there are three main reasons around it. Agrarian prices like climate changes, unseasonable rains, heat wave alert, and vegetable harvest yield schedules leading to sharp and expected price spikes in local markets. Second one is a global friction. Right now, geopolitical turbulence like Iran and US war. So due to that, the crude oil prices and edible fertilizer prices are going to be very expensive, and their import is like not a possible regarding the war. So that's why the prices of that also increases. Service inflation, urban density demand higher rate, and premium delivery services cementing higher margins on a core leisure dining and real estate options. So in urban areas, rents and services of everything are increasing. That's why the inflation is also increasing. The path to price stability. So, what the things we can do to stabilize the inflation? First thing we can do the rates, like the RBI increased the repo rate to 6.50 to tighten market liquidity and curb speculative prices dynamics. Second one, we can do that duty cuts. The government optimized custom duty on critical edible oil to maintain retail market stability. Third, we can do tax relief. The standard tax deduction limit was expanded. Like it's also if we deduct like relieve the tax, then people have a more income and they can easily buy the products. Anchor targeted fiscal strategies and anchor consumer food inflation trend reaching 3.9% by mid 2026. Question like analyzing India's strategic macroeconomics equilibrium, how will India continue balancing high GDP output target while insulating consumer basket for structural climate shocks? So it is a question for you, and you can uh, mention in a comment the answer, and it's going to be fantastic, like discussing with you regarding the inflation kind of things. And it's a GDP per capita inflation. Like India, you can see it's around not below the 5,000, but when you can see the like US, it's around $30,000. So it's too much right now. Like the parity of disparity of income there between the countries is too much. And you can see China, it's above the $5,000. So this is from my side for you guys, and thank you for watching. If you learned something valuable from that video, then hit the bell icon and subscribe the YouTube channel. And we are coming with more insightful and upcoming videos regarding kind of different kind of things. And if you want a specific video, and if in any topic, then comment it on that video. I will surely make that video for you. So thank you for watching. Bye bye. We will see you in the next one.